would like to call the meeting of the Board of Directors of the Des Moines Public Schools to order for January 23rd, 2018. Please take the roll.
Natasha Newcomb.
Here.
Ms. Delegardelle Shelley.
Here.
Ms. Langford.
Here.
Ms. Caldwell Johnson.
Here.
Ms. Ellsburn.
Here.
Ms. Anderson.
Here.
Mr. Barron.
Here.
The first item on our agenda this evening is approval of the agenda. Are there any requests to pull or remove any items? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion and a second to approve the agenda as published.
I move that we approve the agenda.
I'll second.
We have a motion from De La Gardelle Shelley and a second from Ellsburn. Any further discussion? Please vote.
Oh, I thought I did. Wrong button.
Motion passes 7-0. The next item on our agenda is approval of the minutes. May I have a motion and a second to approve the minutes from the January 9th, 2018 meeting?
I'll move approval.
Second.
We have a motion from Ellsburn and a second from Anderson. Any discussion or corrections? Hearing none, please vote. Motion passes 7-0. We do not have district recognitions this evening, but we do have an individual that would like to speak to the board on a non-agenda item, not able to be at the public forum, so I would call Alex Albright to the podium. If you could please provide your name and your address for the record. Yes.
Hi, I'm Alex Albright. I live at 2514 High Street in Des Moines. So I have 3 minutes or so to
Yes.
speak. Thank you. I guess, so today I feel like probably what I'm doing it mostly is getting a feel for what it's like to be here and speak and be a part of this. And because I feel like what I was thinking about talking about has pretty much been decided on and will be moving forward, but kind of feeling like I missed an opportunity earlier, hadn't been aware of how to get into it. And I don't know how much one person would have changed things, but the decision to change school start times is a big change that I'm having a hard time getting ready for. We have 3 kids, a second grader, a kindergartner, and then a 3-year-old preschooler at Coles, and then we'll have a 4th one start in a couple of years. And I think maybe somewhat just being at those ages, I wasn't so quick to maybe get involved in school board things. And I know that there was been discussion about it recently, and I certainly am for, and I think most people are. And I looked on the website and saw some of the numbers and things that have been shown for polls taken on support for the decision, and it looks like a lot of people are in support of evidence-based movements to try and have kids have better academic scores and drive to school when they're less drowsy. There was like a slight shift, like 3% less support maybe from 16, 17 to 17, 18 or whatever for people in support of it. And I don't know how many people had high school kids that responded to that versus elementary school kids. I think that was in the numbers, but and I wonder if people who haven't been up to high school yet or all the way, I don't know. It's like I wasn't aware, and so maybe if I had been, and I would have been thinking about it more and how to get over here to talk about it, I would have said something more. It's just a big change for the younger families. The kids will be in daycare longer afterwards. The cost of that is a big change, I think. I don't know if that's been addressed, how that will be, if there's anything that will ease that for some people. And I know that there's been a lot of complaints from other people I know about older kids not being available to watch younger kids, so some free childcare is lost. And I wondered if there weren't other ways, and also the studies are like older kids stay awake till like 11 at night, so and I wondered if they just couldn't go at like 9:30, and kids couldn't, the other schools couldn't, school start times didn't have to change. Okay, so I just wondered if there were other alternative options for still giving them with the high school kids what we want them to have, and then also not disrupting the younger kids' lives and the families' lives of those kids. So, primarily that's it.
Thank you for being here. You had a lot of questions, and I might ask, Tim Schott, who's in the back row, really led the district's team that did the analysis and provided the recommendation. in support of the superintendent's desire to move forward with some changes. So I might ask that you spend a little bit of time with Tim, and he might be able to answer some of your questions. The decision at this point has already been made, but certainly if there's a way that we can help you better understand and figure out ways that we might be able to support you moving forward, Tim can certainly help you with that.
Okay.
Thank you very much for being here. We appreciate it greatly. Okay. The next item on our agenda is the consent, and before continuing with our regular meeting, I want to remind the audience that we allow any person in the audience the opportunity to speak for 5 minutes following the presentation of an agenda item. If anyone wishes to speak to an agenda item, please go to the information table to sign up. Remarks must be germane to the agenda, and we ask that you avoid reference to personalities and character attacks, as those types of comments serve no productive purpose. As a reminder to the board and public, the board will not engage in discussion or deliberation with the speaker regarding comments made to agenda items. Discussion and deliberation will remain among the board members at the board table, with speakers' comments informing said discussion, deliberation, and determination as deemed necessary. We appreciate your input. Mr. Barron, I believe you have the consent motion.
I believe I move that the board approve the consent items in accordance with the recommended action for each item on the consent agenda, including bills previously authorized, certified, and approved for payment by the board secretary in the amount of $3,166,919.84 and procurement card transactions in the amount of $453,752.50.
Is there a second?
A second.
We have a second from Anderson. Is there any discussion on the consent items? Yes, Ms. Ellsburn.
Yeah, so item number 7, around award of design services for Central Campus Agronomy Program and classroom replacement. Just wanted to mention and ask for a little clarification. There was some community concern about vetting of putting that addition on the current aviation building and the with the Federal Aviation Administration and the potential for jeopardizing the current aviation program. And I guess I wanted to get some clarification at the board table for that.
Yeah, so there was apparently some misunderstanding about what was being proposed and how some agronomy students in either animal sciences and or the botany program might be utilizing the current aviation facility. So what we're asking for tonight is approval of a design bidder for the actual agronomy building, which is a separate structure. Because we have essentially brand new aviation facility that was built with additional growth of that program in mind, we actually have additional capacity at that building. So what we intend to do is use some of the extra capacity, which will equate to 1 classroom at the aviation building, to serve some of the programming needs for the agricultural programs, the agronomy programs. We have vetted that with the FAA, and we won't be violating our certification or authorization for our airframe or let me see if I can remember these, the general, the airframe, and the power plant programs that we currently have authorization for with the FAA. Thank you. So what we hope, frankly, is that both programs grow and that we'll have additional facility needs in the future. But to ensure that we're making the best use of our statewide penny dollars to serve needs just in time and not build additional capacity where it's not really needed, especially if it's adjacent to underutilized space, we feel that that's the best way forward. So we have verification from the FAA that what we intend to do doesn't jeopardize any authorization that is required to have modified programs that are articulated with Indian Hills, so students can complete that articulated 2x2 program. It's kind of a lot of wonky stuff. But.
Thank you.
Any additional questions for the superintendent before we move to a vote on our consent items? Hearing none, please vote. Our consent agenda passes 7-0. The next item on our agenda this evening is item E1, open enrollment late applications for denial. I'll ask the superintendent to please introduce the matter.
Yes, we follow, the district follows according to state code, the open enrollment laws. There is an allowance in the law for late applications if there's some extenuating circumstance where families didn't have the information they needed to be able to make a timely application. And so when those late applications come in, they get analyzed per board policy and state code, and we make a determination based on the merits of the application. And so what you have on your agenda tonight are those that were denied.
I don't believe we have any speakers on this item, so I would entertain a motion and a second to deny the open enrollment late applications for the case numbers listed in the agenda. We have a motion from Natasha Newcomb and a second from Langford. Any discussion? Hearing none, please vote. Motion passes 6 yes, 1 no. Motion passes 7-0. The next item on our agenda is information-only items. The first of those is a notification of award of competitive quote for the Woodlawn Center entry project. And the second is City of Des Moines Park Avenue and Windsor School pedestrian bridge collaboration project cost has been finalized. And then finally, we have Youth Advisory Committee minutes for the November and January meetings. That's it. Whoa. We're now to item G, items of privilege, Chair's report. I don't have anything in particular to report, but I would like to congratulate Robert Nashimwe, North High School senior, who is recognized by the John R. Grubb Y as the youth honoree at the 2018 Martin Luther King prayer breakfast. They had a really wonderfully done video that highlighted Robert's accomplishments and just what an amazing and stellar young man he is. So congratulations to Robert. There are a couple of other things, and I'll sort of talk to board members offline, but just want to remind you of our schedule for the upcoming superintendent evaluation. I've provided you with a copy of the draft, so any feedback before we finalize that would be appreciated. And outside of that, I don't have anything else to report. Are there any other board members that have items to share? Yes, Cindy.
Sure. The Community Legislative Action Team has an event coming up this Saturday at the Capitol from 9:30 to 11 a.m. It's a Capitol orientation and advocacy training, open to the public. Bring your kids if you'd like as well. We're going to be actually touring the Capitol, seeing where the work is done, and learning from legislators themselves about the expectations and what happens and how you call them out to speak with them, and probably doing a little role play with volunteers, and it should be a good morning. So I hope to see people there.
Great. Anybody else? This side? Yes.
Yeah,
Natasha.
I just wanted to raise, there's going to be plenty of opportunities for people to be at the Capitol, but this Thursday is Immigrant Advocacy Day, and that is going to be from 7:30 to 2. So
Great.
plan on being there. Hope to see some people.
Anybody else?
Ms. Langford's probably not gonna like me calling her out about this, but she gave a wonderful presentation at an MLK Day. Was that Forest Avenue Library? Yeah, at Forest Avenue Library, where she raised up, what can we all be doing on a daily basis? Where can we be stepping out of our comfort zone to step up for, people of color and immigrants in our community? And it's something that I think I carry with me to the board table. And so I'm really glad that she asked our community what they can do in that aspect as well. So.
Great. Thank you. Congratulations. Hearing nothing else, we'll turn it over. Oh. turn it over to the superintendent for the superintendent's report.
Okay, just a few things. The flu has been ravaging the country to some degree or other, depending on where it is you live, and certainly Des Moines has not escaped that. I want to just, for anyone who's listening or knows students and staff, if you're sick, take care of yourself, stay home if you are not feeling well. There's some unusual, I don't know all the technical stuff, but I know that the vaccine did not catch the most harmful strains that are out there, and there have been an unusually high number of deaths this year, even here in state. So it's just really important. Stay hydrated, wash your hands, all of those things. But if you're sick, stay home so you give yourself a better chance to recover, and you also lessen the chance of passing the illness on to your classmates and colleagues. And one more note, I talked about this at the last meeting, but North and Hoover are ranked 4th and 5th in the state this year. You guys, if you have not seen them play, outstanding, high quality basketball. We have good teams at all of our schools, but man, North and Hoover are really, really fun to watch, and I wouldn't be surprised if both of them, if the seeds work out right, could make it to the tournament. It's really been fun season. And finally, just to echo what Vice Chair Ellsburn said, we need to stay engaged. This legislative session is moving pretty quickly. We know what happened last year through that session, and they're continuing on with essentially the same agenda. So it's very important that we pay attention. There are a number of bills that will directly or indirectly impact schools and DMPS in particular that we're paying close attention to and spending lots of time talking with whomever on the Hill whose ear we can bend. But the better level of engagement that we have and the more that we can put positive pressure for the right decisions at the legislature, the better. And that can most effectively come from our parents and our families in the community. So stick with it, stay informed, and don't hesitate to fire off an email or a phone call to your legislators.
Great. Thank you, Superintendent Adehart. I don't believe we have any additional business, so I will adjourn the regular meeting of the board, and we will adjourn to a very short work session.